Hey, and welcome to the Weed Out, where we talk about bullshit and the nonsense in our backyard, and hopefully we can pull some weeds. I'm Spencer Fox Peterson with my co-host.
Hi everyone, I'm Joanna May Booty.
It's been a slow spring for us here at the Weed Out, but things are getting on track. We have a lot of exciting things coming up in the next couple months. Going to be changing the format up a little bit. Maybe bringing in, well, not maybe, we are bringing in other folks to panel the Weed Out. Some familiar voices, but we'll get more to that as at a later date. But that's the quick and short of our housekeeping. As always, go to www.theweedout.com, find all the links for this episode, anything we reference, where to find the person we're talking to, all that stuff. Same deal as always. It's on the podcast notes and on the website. So www.theweedout.com. Always feel free to follow us on all the social medias at the Weedout or at the Weedout 413 on Instagram. And always feel free to hit us up in the DMs with any suggestions, comments, concerns, and we'll get to you. So as always, Joanna, how are you today?
I'm okay. So I'm personally great, I guess. But the situation with the student protesters, especially locally connected to, I personally work at UMass. So that situation is a difficult one to I guess watch because I haven't been a part of it. The faculty senate met today and I watched some of the video of that and I was really proud of them. So I hope there's some movement there and I don't know, I hope the students are not charged and they're safe and okay and all of those things. So I'm good, but I'm thinking about all of those things and the genocide that is occurring in Palestine and other places too. So it's a great for me, but also it's dark times we live in. How about you?
I always, the last 6 months for real though, I've been leaning on that. Personally, I'm good. Things are stable. I got a roof over my head. Everything's good at home. Animals are happy, fat, and stupid. But there's a lot of things to despair about. And, I still have to go to work and work for somebody else every day. And they don't give a fuck. It's nothing personal. That's just the way bosses and workers are, right? But thank you for mentioning the action at the local university. Shout out to the five colleges for doing your part. Shout out to the kids, as always. They're our true north. We always have to.
Oh yes, definitely. They're on the right side of history. And shout out to PSU, my union, and all of the unions at UMass that stood up against bringing police on campus to harm the students in any way. It's horrifying.
And small shout out to my. I don't know who you are. If you listen to the show, to my dear anarchist friends who did a direct action against L3 Harris in Northampton, the weapons
Oh
ban.
yeah, hell yeah.
They vandalized their building with red paint to symbolize the blood that they've spilt. And they're multiple groups, but I don't know who these people are. They were black bloc, all in black. So shout out to them. Hopefully you get this message. Keep doing what you're doing. And shout out to all the people doing the more standard civil disobedience standing outside L3 Harris. This is a multi-pronged issue, and it's imperialism, and it results in genocide and oppression. And it's not just in Palestine, as Joanna mentioned. So that there goes that segment for the episode.
Very uplifting. Very uplifting. Before we dive into our awesome guest that we have here.
Yes, and remember at the end of the episode we're going to do Ghoulery and Tomfoolery. I'm sure y'all missed it. It's we didn't get. I don't think we did it last episode. So stick around for that at the end. It's a good one. Well, it's Ghoulery, so I'll give you a little hint there. But without further ado, I am so happy to welcome season 4 winner of Netflix's Blown Away, and glass blowing reality or competition rather. It's not a reality show. It's a competition show. This person's very special to me. This is my sister Morgan, my one of my older siblings. I only have two older sisters, and she's the second to the she's middle child, and she made us proud this year, and she showed up and made some awesome pieces in a competitive situation. But we're here to not only talk to her about experience, but talk to her about what it's like to be a working artist, and what that means is you don't get to always make your own stuff. Like I feel like these reality shows or competition shows kind of take away from they don't in my opinion don't fully address like what do these people do day to day, because that's not really fun. But like whenever I'm a cook, so whenever I watch cooking shows, I'm like, this isn't how this it's different.
It's TV, Spence.
They don't count.
It's
Like,
TV.
what about the guy that that no call no showed? They don't throw that monkey into their fucking.
It's true. That's true. But they got it.
I may not be the world's greatest chef, but you know what, man? I would always figure shit out in the worst circumstances, and we'd still get the service done. But without rambling on anymore, I want to introduce my lovely sister, Morgan Peterson.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on and sharing about your experiences, and to kind of put it on blast, I have a semi-famous sibling, and also just I'm really proud of you for putting yourself out there and competing and doing what you do best.
Thank you.
Charm and woo people, I guess.
Yeah. And torturing our parents. I'm an expert.
Wait, were they tortured? See, this is
I'm sure.
just for full disclosure, everybody at home, enjoy it. Morgan and I, we text, but we don't really, we live on opposite sides of the country, so we don't. I'm probably going to hear some things I've never heard today, so this is all new to me. So how did mom and dad actually respond to the
they were really proud, but Ashley, our sister, our eldest sister, just our parents are very strict, and I was never very good at following any sort of rule. So when my mom saw more tattoos on me than she had seen since I was like 15 or 16, all she said was, "Oh, she has more of them." She didn't say anything to me, but she said something to Ashley, and at this point I'm in my 40s, so it's like, really, what are you going to do? But I think all in all, they were very proud, and I think entertained by what I do, and I think they're proud of all of us. We've all done different paths, but we're all very hardworking individuals and stay true to what we believe in, regardless of what the outcome may be, even if it's going against the norm, which Spencer and I do quite often. So I think it was expected, but also unexpected, but they were very proud.
I'm biased. I've always loved the things you like when we were kids. You drew a lot and like doodle, or even like cutting people's faces out of doing Photoshop, cutting people's faces out of pictures and stuff.
Yeah. Torturing Ashley. Yeah.
Right. A little bit of psychological. I was unfortunately I was the tag along in a lot of ways because I'm the youngest, so different experience.
No, it was my backup. It was my lookout.
That is how it works. I'm the oldest, and I'm sorry, Spence, you're not left behind. It is actually Ashley probably who needed to watch out for you two. And I'm not I'm not saying that she didn't do anything wrong either, but my little siblings, they gave me a run.
I meant tag along.
No,
my parents pawned me off on them. So like I saw a lot. Like I witnessed my sisters grow up, but I'm like 4 and 6 years younger, so she's just a little kid. You don't know what the fuck's going on.
No, I would convince you to do shit with me that like probably I shouldn't have. And poor Ashley, little mother, was always stressed out because I would get you to like run away with me to the store and go buy candy, and like I was on a leash. They put me on a harness and a leash as a child, so I was like unruly. And then Spencer came along, so Ashley was kind of in charge of watching the two of us. It was the 80s, so it was like, so eldest watches the younger two, but when I'm the middle child and very ornery, like she didn't even have a chance. Like they set her up to fail. Yeah. I knew exactly what I was doing. I know what I was.
My sister Valerie is like she's very similar in the way that like you're saying. It was like my brother was probably 5 or 6 younger, like years than her, and it was a similar thing. Like she would just get him to do whatever she could get him to do. It was hilarious. It
Oh
was
yeah.
hilarious. Like looking back, it's cute.
Yeah.
It's
But as it's
problematic
happening, it's like,
parenting. It's
yeah.
problematic parenting.
Well, I'm in my 40s now too, so I hold no grudges. Like it's just cute to think back that
No,
like
me either.
you're
I think it's
you're
funny.
palling around. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, we didn't get hurt or in, too much trouble. Like I got in trouble a lot, but grounded, I think, for 2 years straight at one point. Oh my good God. Yeah. It was my mom always said either she's gonna wind up famous or dead or in jail. I don't know.
Well,
Like it's gonna be, yeah.
well,
Hey, there's still time. There's still time to
yeah,
go to
like
jail.
you could check all those boxes.
Yeah, I will definitely check 2 of them, but like, and there's a good getting into good trouble is not bad. Like I've definitely been arrested, so it's like whatever. Like I mean, I don't have a problem with that. So it's I don't have a problem. That's a them problem. I can't control how they feel. Like,
Exactly. I have been so excited to meet you though because Spencer does talk so fondly about you when he does talk
oh,
about his sisters. And and also your work is just so beautiful. Even the pieces that Spence has from before
oh my
the
God,
show or like
scary.
really long time ago. I like those too even. So
Oh, nice.
I haven't had a chance to watch like the show yet because I don't have Netflix. So when I do get a chance, I'm sure I'll be blown away. but I but I've looked at all of your art on your Instagram page and I love I love the concepts that you're coming up with, the names, like literally everything. So
Oh, thank you.
I have a ton of questions I could come up with. Even just like how was your show in Hollywood?
It was great. I mean, it was amazing. It was a lifelong goal of mine to have a show in LA, specifically Hollywood. Since I was a little kid, I remember telling my parents, like being after actually when Spencer was born, I was like wanted to leave Boston so bad. I hated it. I was like, I just want to move to Hollywood because I grew up in that MTV generation. So I was super into like watching MTV music videos. So it was always like I said, a lifelong goal to have a show there. And it happened, and it
Yeah.
had to do a lot with having that work and having like a huge portfolio, because I've been blowing glass for going on 24 years now, and I've been an artist my whole life, so it's what I do. I make art, and a lot of the times when I'm making art, it's not necessarily something like I envision being in someone's house. Like I have an idea, a concept, and I want to complete it because it's about an idea in time or a reaction to what's going on currently in our climate, our political climate, and all that. So to have a space and opportunity like that to show in like Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, made my dreams come true. It's a beautiful space. It's still up. So if people are in the Los Angeles, West Hollywood area, close to Beverly Hills, it's the 8900 Beverly Boulevard at Nathy Katzoff Gallery. It's just such a beautiful space. And Nathy's a very brilliant artist himself. He's a woodworker, and I am in his building in West Seattle. We have a studio space there. But it's checking off all these boxes that I never, like I dreamed would happen, but I didn't know if it would happen. And then being on the show and having that exposure definitely made it happen. So I'm ecstatic. The turnout was amazing. There was over 350 people that came.
Awesome.
Which is wild for an opening. It was great. It was an amazing experience. I have a lot of gratitude for how I came up in the glass community, but also to the Blown Away series. Like they opened a lot of doors for me, and Netflix with that too. So it's been great.
Well, congratulations. And like I said, I just love the pieces and the way that you describe how they speak to they speak of like political things or what's happening in our times. Like that comes through completely with so many of the pieces that I saw in the show. I wish I could go see them, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm jealous of anyone who got to see them in person because they just I'm sure the pictures do not do them justice.
Yeah, in the show too, you get one chance to do something typically before you ever see something of mine. I have attempted it 10s, 20s or not hundreds of times. You know, you're seeing like the 100th iteration of something. So it's very refined. On the show, you get one shot. And it's like, you know, I would not show any of that work ever if it were up to me, you know, but it's like, that's the challenge. It's like, what can you do in this very, very short window of time? It's like, it's a game, it's a contest. You're not going to make the best artwork ever. It's just not what it is, but who can come up with the best idea and execute it, and under the circumstances which are very stressful, and you're working in a studio that you're not familiar with people you've never worked with before. You know, it's literally like if you work in a kitchen, you're of your first night, you're in the weeds, you don't speak the language of anyone else, and like the oven, it needs to be calibrated, it's off by, let's say, 50 degrees, and one of your burners is really hot, and your knives are dull. So it's like there's so many factors. So, but it's like, what can you do? How good are you? That's what the actual competition is. And the thing is, anyone can have a bad day in the shop. It could have been any, you know what I mean? Like, everyone has bad days. So it's just like, I feel very fortunate to have made it as far as I did in the competition. You know, I'm so excited I didn't get eliminated, because like that would have been really hard, you know. But I have a lot of respect for everyone else that was on the show, because they worked their asses off. So it's like every single person worked really, really hard and did a great job, especially like now that I've been there and I've experienced it myself. Like, coming from that perspective, I totally understand like the challenges that are put in front of you. And everyone that's ever, you know, there's only 40 of us that have done that, have experienced that. And so out of all the glass blowers in the world, only 40 people right now have that very specific experience, and know what it's like to be on that pad under that stress. And, you know, so I have a lot of respect for every single person that has competed on that show. Like, I know what they went through.
Absolutely. I mean, I can only imagine the stress of like just like a timed, because the kitchen stuff, I think of it that way. Just the timed work. It must be so like,
it's
how
so
did
stressful.
you handle? Yeah, how did you handle that? I would have like, I feel like I would have had to have like a specific thing to keep me like okay.
Honestly, it was just like, just get through it. And a lot of times mine was like, how can I twist words on themselves? You know, and I have to, you have to make everything your own. In my eyes, that's what I need to do. You know, like I need to set myself apart. Like I make everything into a game for myself, and it's all about my entertainment at the end of the day when I'm making things. You know, why else be an artist? Like, I don't do it for anyone else. I do it for me. So it's like, everything I did, I was like, this is for me. So if I get sent home on this challenge, that's fine, as long as I stayed true to myself. But it's no matter what, every single time you walk onto that pad when you're blowing glass, it is stressful. It is so stressful. It is just like,
I can only imagine, like you said. And that's such good advice that you just gave for life in general. To relieve stress, just be what you are.
Be what you are, because like you can't be anyone else. They're already taken. You know, like you just got to be yourself. And you know, I know what people are not going to like it. Some people are going to love it. Some people will be indifferent. But typically, you know, in those situations, it's a pretty polarizing standpoint. So, you know, people either love me or hate me, and it's like, whatever, I don't give a shit. Like, are you paying me? Oh, fuck off. Like, suck my dick.
Yeah, I hear you. Same
like,
vibe.
He paid me, asshole. Keep talking about me. All you're doing is putting me higher in the algorithm and getting people to look at my shit. So thank you.
It's true. The tears of the haters fuel.
Oh, it's amazing.
Fuel us for life. It's so true.
The sweetest drink of all.
That's what I always say. Like, oh, I could have these all day, you guys.
Oh yeah, I save them all too. We print them out and make shit with them. It's funny. People are idiots.
They are. It's like, find something else. Don't let me live rent free in your head, please.
I love that I do. I'm like, oh, that's so nice that you think about me while you're laying in bed and you can't sleep, and it's me, and I'm sleeping so beautifully in my bed.
Yeah, that is good. I mean, that's such a nice, like it's such a nice thought to have. Like, oh, I'm resting.
And to be so upset about at reality shows or whatever, when there's real shit going on in the world that you probably should be upset about, you know, like kids being slaughtered, whatever, you know, like, let's be mad at reality TV show contestants. My life is ruined. Like, it's so funny. People are or either people are, it's a whole spectrum. They're absolutely amazing and absolutely horrendous. And the whole spectrum in between. You're just like, oh my God. But
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
never stop surprising you. I'm surprised all
no,
the time, and I thought it would
no,
end like I'm like,
no,
oh, I'll figure it out. No, it's
no.
always it's always a surprise. But that's a
That's
good
a surprise.
segue. It's a good segue what you said about like what's happening in the real world. Like, what in the real world has influenced your work the most? I guess, especially the most recent work that you're doing. That like, is it a specific thing or the concepts you kind of mentioned before?
I'm always influenced by what's going on around me. That's like how I keep making work. Like I get really bored after a while, so I can't keep making the same thing over and over again. So like right now, like what's going on, I always like to have, I digest information that I hear, and I'm like a news junkie and a history junkie. So I like going back and, checks and balances and all that sort of thing. So right now, thinking of what I do for a living and the resources that we use, specifically glass, and how it's made, predominantly with silica, like metals, precious metals, and lithium, which is what the war, part of the war is over in Ukraine and Russia, but also oil, and so gas, those resources. So I think about that all the time, and how we're all partially complicit with a lot of things, and the what's going on politically. But right now, what I'm working on is I've been working with a lot of blood spatter and mirrors, like referencing historical elements in glass, because I love, like I said, I love history and I love referencing historical elements. So what I really want to do right now is make this really beautiful Venetian 19th century mirror that's all like transparent blood red. But I'm going to engrave like fishnet and olive branches in it, and all the flowers will be, the symbols for martyrs and war. So red poppies and red roses. So, and it'll be like a rippled out massive Venetian mirror. And that's what we're going to be making in Italy. So, referencing these historical artifacts that were in Versailles. So only the richest of the rich could have these pieces. It was such a luxury item. This has always been the way. So that's part of what I do for a living. I work, like most of the people that buy what we make are the 1%. So for me to like be able to be okay with what I do, it's like I have to make work that speaks to me. So it's going to be the self-reflection that we are all complicit, and in a lot of ways, that we can make things right, and we can rectify things and speak out and stand up for others. And through art is can be a very political tool. So the way I see it is creating this massive blood red mirror. So we're looking at ourselves, which is made with all these crazy natural resources that we are at war with so many places for, like our own government aiding and abetting a genocide to get oil from land and displace and commit a genocide of people because they want its resources, and using religion as a trope to control people. So that's like what the work is about. And I was making all these Molotov cocktails, but out of the 1948 Coca-Cola bottle. So they're all
Awesome.
going to have like, different, I'll enamel them. And I found a mold actually from the Coca-Cola factory from
Oh,
1948. So we want
wow.
to, yeah, remake them and then have all hand painted labels, but with different, instead of nutrition facts, it'll be like facts about things that happened historically throughout those lands, and how our government and our capitalistic society has poisoned the well in so many places. Is you have to be able to look at it like from a self-reflective standpoint. It can't be pointing the finger at everyone else. Like we all have benefited from this, and it's like not just calling, you have to offer solutions, but it's, as an artist, I feel like my job is to document what's going on at that current time. So everything I see as what I do is a current modern day still life. So it's like what's happening historically and how it references, how it goes back. Like everything's a mashup, everything repeats itself. So it's like mixing the past with the present, and how what has changed and what has not changed. So that's what it's all about. And that's the type of work that I make, which is, it's a hard sell. At the end of the day, I make things that I'm okay living with for the rest of my life, that I'm all right being okay with that. You know, I don't just make things to make things. I try to use my resources to say something.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
And I cannot wait to see the Venetian mirror.
I'm so excited, but I've wanted to do that for years. I just had a residency at Corning where we did some prototypes of like blown glass, like ripple, blood splatter, like very beautiful rondelles that'll all get mirrorized, but it's just like blood red color. So it'll all be traditionally mirrored. And like, so it's like having that self-reflection of looking, you have to look at yourself, you know.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you bringing up self-reflection as a way to, like you said, like we're all complicit and we all benefit in some way. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important for everyone to acknowledge in some way. But I love that your art, personally, although your art may like bring out and evoke these particular things, like looking at ourselves and self reflection, I'm also so thankful because they're so beautiful too.
Oh, thank you.
Our art brings joy, and that's one of the things I just feel like is so important in these times too. And artists like yourself and others, I think there's probably so many artists that give up because of how hard it is. So I mean, you can speak to that, but I'm just so
Mm-hmm.
thankful. I'm so thankful for people like you that share themselves with all of us and the beauty that
Yeah.
is there.
Yeah, you have to like at a certain point, like I struggled with this, you know, like just working, like I said, for 24 years with this material. And, you know, I have the luxury of working for one of the greatest living artists. You know, I'm so fortunate. I work for Dale Chihuly. He's an amazing boss. He's so supportive of us. And I know how lucky I am, you know. And I'm one of the few people that, you know, I do get to make my own work and I don't have to survive off the sale of it. So it's like I have this luxury, you know, it's an ultimate luxury. It's my first world problem of like, I make work that's a hard sell, but, you know, I had to make a choice. Like my partner said to me, you know, because I was like, shit, like nothing's selling. He's like, well, you know, you have to make a choice. Either you know how to make money, you know what sells, either you do that and you make money, or you make art and you make things that you may live with for the rest of your life. But that is a choice that you have to make. And yeah, maybe it'll catch on, maybe you'll get a really good break, maybe you'll be in the right place at the right time. But what, at the end of the day, what makes you happier? Like being able to express yourself in the way that you want to, or making money. And it's like money, you know, it brings, yes, it makes life easier, but at the end of the day, I like doing whatever I want, and I hate being like like anyone's bitch, basically. Like I don't want to be
like, I don't like that either.
Yeah, I'm like fuck that. I'm like, but my boss I love working for because he's like he's this brilliant artist, and he's so, like I said, so generous with his studio, with us. And when we have opportunities to go do things, we're able to do that. Like not many people have that luxury. No, we don't have a ton of money, but I live and I get to blow glass for a living. I am a living working artist. Not many people can say that. It's like it is more of a lifestyle choice that I chose. Um, I'm really grateful. Like my art, you know, I could have been born at a different time or in a different place where it would not be this way. So it's like I'm so grateful for the opportunities I've had and the fact that I get to do what I do. And I have the opportunities to show it. Like that's a big deal, you know, like maybe in time, you know, like I'll have more space in my studio. And like I have lots of shows coming up, and like hopefully that keeps happening. I'm just like I hope it keeps rolling, you know.
Absolutely.
This is the intersection of capitalism and art and
Yeah. Oh, it's a currency. It's money laundering. It's all the shit. It's like, fuck,
I see
come
that.
on.
I see a hidden crime when you mention you know, you're rare, like you're one of 40 people that have done this competitive version of this.
Mm-hmm.
Even at your day job, you're making art for artists, and you know, it's not working a production line making
No.
goblets or whatever, you know. And like no shade to those people that do that. Like sometimes it's the only job you can fucking get, and you could be
Totally.
but you'll never get to exercise that muscle, or maybe you don't want to do that. But the point is, capitalism, I feel like forces more people. And just think about how many things that didn't get created because we had to make money, and it's a real bummer. And I'm it's good to be humble, because tomorrow, like you just said, like you got things booked for now, but
Yeah.
it's not forever. And um
Yeah, I've been really lucky. And my boss, he's in his 80s now, and it's like we're still going, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, it's like we have like day jobs in order to sustain what we do for our own careers. And every single person on our team is an artist, whether they're in the hot shop or like in the mock-up area building. We all have these, but we get to work for this like prolific, brilliant artist. And so it's like, I don't think it's fallen deaf on any of our ears that how lucky we are to get to do what we do.
Yeah, like I'm a unicorn in my industry too. I have a good situation for me, and like, but I don't have to go and possibly be on a cooking line for six days where you're scheduled for 4 or 5, like, and you're fucking the most reliable guy there. It ends up being 6 weeks, and for what? You don't even get to like learn something new. You don't even get to, you work at a burger joint. You're not breaking down any duck or any chicken, so you don't even get a chance to like get good at even basic shit, filleting fish, because you're just flipping burgers. Even at a skill to that, I've done it.
But even with all that stuff, though, it's like in those jobs, and especially when you get treated like shit, there's silver linings to all of it, because you learn like how you would never treat somebody. A lot of times when people go right to the top, like some young asshole working on our team, like if they don't have to go through the rigmarole of working in the harder jobs where it's like you dream of being on the elite teams. It's like, I think it's a lot of character building to be in those positions, and because you learn so much valuable work, and like, but you also learn how you want to be treated and how you want others to be treated. So it's like, I think those jobs are so valuable. And like, I mean, our parents had us working at very young ages. Like, we had paper routes as far back as I can remember, and I would hide my money like a psycho. Like, I would lie to my mom on how much money I had, because I was like a candy junkie. It's like, all right, I'm not giving you my money. Like, like I'd hide a little bit every time, but it was just like, as far back as I can remember, we've been working. We never had an allowance or anything like that. We all had jobs.
No, we lived in a surveillance state, Morgan. You weren't a junkie. You lived in a surveillance state. You
totally
create your own little niche. I am unapologetic about this on this podcast. So that's where the anti-authoritarian streak comes from. That's why people like you and I, in our family specifically, because we felt always ill at ease. Well, I don't know if either of us really ever felt like we could relax.
Oh no, God no.
Things were very tense all the time for whatever reason. It doesn't really matter. But you grow up in this stew. So like, when you see the local, federal, like you lived in Seattle during 2020, for example, like there's a million. You and I are old enough where we can think of a million examples, but specifically, like, you saw the breakdown of local government, how they're willing to fucking beat their own.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, Seattle was the first police force to have be trained by the IDF. Like, these are things that I have known for quite some time, that I have, like, I respect veterans and all of that, but I am very anti-war in every aspect, especially I cannot stand the police. And so typically the people that I know that turned into police were the assholes I knew growing up, the townies that just dicks to everyone. It was like a compensation thing. So, and that's not everyone, but it's like, if you're going to judge protesters, like the first one to throw the brick, and judge them all the same way, then why aren't we judging our police force as the bad apples all the same way? Because more times often than not, they're the ones starting the shit. I've seen it with my own two eyes. Like, I live in a very Muslim Arabic neighborhood. I'm the minority, and when all that was going on, we have a police station across the street from us. They were patrolling our neighborhood, and they're all young children. So I'm like so not down with that. So we would be outside waiting for it, the two whiteys in the neighborhood, and it's like two weirdos, it's like, so. But the kids are our future. Like, I never wanted to have children, but I'm very protective of the children in our neighborhood and children in general, because we need them to be educated and taken care of and their needs met. So when they're of the age to take over, they're capable of doing it. They need to have the resources, the education, the infrastructure, like, like, they're getting a lot of bullshit handed to them, and it's not fair. It's like, it's really shitty. Like, I don't know, the boomer generation, did a lot of selfish shit, and the Gen Z and Alpha are really going to pay for it. It's like, it really blows. So I'm with the kids always. Like, with the protests that are occurring right now, I'm always going to be with the kids. Like, they're doing the right thing, and what do they got to lose? Like, I understand that. Like, it makes me very proud of our students and the mobilization and the organization and what they're capable of, and their acceptance of people, and everything down to like gender being, everything, like the fluidness of people. And so I think it's a wonderful thing, and I'm just proud to see that our brilliant students are doing the hard work. We'll always have their back. Like, I guess I'm an adult technically, according to the law.
I always feel that way too. I'm like, am I really an adult? Oh my God.
God. Yeah.
Oh,
It's like, I still feel like a teenager. I'm like, it's like, but I see those kids, and I've been at protests as well. Like, I know what it's like, and it's getting the shit kicked out of you by fucking fascist pigs. It's
losers. They're losers.
Yeah, I can't stand it.
Losers. Like, I just, like, every time I see, I drive, so I drive a lot.
Oh, I can't stand it.
Every time I literally like turn the radio down and just murmur to myself, fucking loser, fucking loser, fucking loser. And turn it back. It's just, I gotta put the energy out there to like fuck with them. Like, I just feel like you gotta do everything you can to resist, because these fucking losers. And this is why we gotta get rid of the whole, profits over people model, because
it's gross. It's gross.
Job for these fucking, this is a jobs program for assholes.
Yeah, they're like, we want you to have kids, but we won't do anything to help you or the kids. You're a bad parent if you can't take care of them. You're a bad parent if you're working. You're a bad parent if you're not around. Like, it doesn't really leave many options. And now it's like, to go to college, like at Tufts, where our sister went, it costs $100,000 a year. Like, insane. Who the hell can pay for that?
Insane.
Like, that's insane to me.
Thank you for bringing that point up, because when the Columbia students started protesting, I looked up there too, and I was like,
it's disgusting. It's like 90 grand.
Yeah, but it's like similar to Tufts, and I'm like, these students have the right to do whatever. I cannot believe that you brought the police in on them. Like, they're paying so much money. Like, it's ridiculous.
Those fucking fascists are beating their paycheck to death. It's like, I'm psyched that they're losing admissions, and all these kids are like, fuck you, I'm not applying here. Good for them. They're smart cookies. You don't need to go to an Ivy League school. Yeah, it's like, the paperwork, the pedigree, that nonsense. But if they keep up the work that they're doing, that shit's not going to matter anyway, because we've seen the scandals with the educational system of parents paying their legacy bullshit into schools. At that point, what's the point of having like a Harvard degree if you had to pay for it, like literally got paid to go to school, like the parents paid to get them in. Like, it's not on merit anyway. And it's a very like white supremacist system. It's like, if the kids keep doing what they're doing, they're going to restructure everything. And I'm here for it. I'm like, I'm ready. They've got to set it up for themselves and their future children. And it's like, that's what's important. Our climate, that people will have potable drinking water, food, resources, like, these are the things that are important. And, even someone that works in an industry that utilizes a lot of natural resources, it's like, I think about those things too. It's like, even if like glass blowing had to end tomorrow, like, okay, I would figure out something to do. I've always worked very hard and whatnot. And for art purposes, I've always been an artist. Like before glass, I used other materials. So I still use other materials. So I would just use whatever was around me, but I'm psyched about all the students and the people doing. They're on the right side of history. Like you gotta typically, things that the government says are wrong or illegal, like when people were harboring Jewish people and hiding them from the Nazi party, that was illegal. So, or helping slaves get away from slave masters and getting them out of slavery, that was illegal. So I would much rather be arrested for doing the ethical thing rather than being some sort of subservient fool to white supremacy. I don't know. I find it to be kind of gross. Like, I really don't want to be affiliated with it. I'm like, no, thank you. I know how lucky I am, but it's like, it's bullshit that like, it's a thing but it's like, you have to acknowledge it. Like, I had it a lot easier because of the color of my skin. I didn't have the additional, obstacle to deal with. And it's like, and there's nothing wrong with pigmented skin. It's beautiful and it shouldn't be an issue. But it's like, unfortunately, the society we live in, there always has to be like, people for some reason need to be a top for there to be a bottom.
Yeah.
But which just doesn't make sense. It's
so wrong to
so
me too.
it's so oppressive.
It's so oppressive. Yes, it doesn't make any sense.
It's like, I don't like we're all equal. We should be considered all equal, but even our rules and like basically, if you have enough money, the rules don't apply for you. I mean, we're seeing it right now with the former hot mess that was in the White House with all his appointments.
What about the fucking current one? Like,
oh, he's a genocidal maniac.
He's breaking. I'm sorry to go on a total tangent, but like, audience, he is not only breaking international law, like flagrantly.
Oh, he's gross.
He's breaking our own. We have a law. It's very basic. We have a law called the Leahy Act or the Leahy Law. It doesn't matter. Point is, look up Leahy. It will show up. Basically, if you know, and they've admitted that they know Israel has done stupid shit with their weapons. Like they've acknowledged, some things have gotten out of hand. They've acknowledged it. They're breaking a law, like out in the open, and they're talking about impeaching him for not giving unconditional aid to Israel. It's like, what the fuck? No, the impeachable act is right there. The Leahy law.
Yeah, like they impeach him for being like a fucking psychopath. He's so gross. Like they're all disgusting.
Somebody for engaging in war. Like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Sidebar.
They're all gross. They're all gross.
Horrible. Yeah.
They're horrible human beings.
Vote third party. Just fuck this. Like, this is crazy. I'm sorry.
I think that this next generation, I do think if people mobilize, they can get these psychopaths out of there. I'm hoping. I'm very hopeful. Like I
appreciate your hopefulness so much because I need it, because I try to focus on the students and everything you're saying, but it really brings my mood up to hear that, because that's one of my focuses too. It's like, okay, maybe it will work out for them.
It will. It's like we just have to be supportive and, reinforce it with positive energy. Negative energy makes you sick. So it's like, there's no reason for it. It's like, don't give up until your dying breath. Like, don't even just keep going. It's just, you want to make things better for the people around you. Like, I don't know, like I don't have children, but I have nieces and nephews and benevolent nieces and nephews, but I want to leave a good world too, the best I can, and it's like, everyone should be treated justly and fairly and have opportunities to do whatever, it doesn't have to be, no, this person needs to be digging in the mines because of the pigment of their skin, or, all these reasons why we have these quote unquote shithole countries. Why are they that way now? Well, because the US went in and destabilized their government, raped the land of its resources, and now they're all fucked. So it's like, okay, so we're really like the bad guys. We're the terrorists. Yeah. Oh my God. Like, how do I get out of here? How do I escape? No,
and then we have to look to the children again, because
I know
it is
the
really
children.
hard. Yeah.
My favorite one is it's been used a couple different ways this year alone. If you don't like it, why don't you leave? Okay.
Yeah. Well,
And the other one, if you care X amount about whatever, Ukraine, Russia, anywhere else, like Sudan, Congo, if you mention anywhere else and they say, why don't you go there and fight it yourself? It's like, so I'm complaining about colonization and you think I'm gonna jump to go colonize somebody? Like
what?
I have to stay fucking here, and if we give the land back to the Native Americans, give them stewardship, and we apply their logic and their something like nobody owns land, like we all have to take care of it together, and we can vote on that democratically and use science and all that stuff. But anyways, but
well, if they're going to use that logic of like specifically what's going on in the Middle East and Palestine with settlers colonizing going in, it's like with that mindset, then you want to know what? Everyone in America needs to get the fuck out of their house. And if someone of native descent comes in, it's like, this is mine, then all right, bitch, move. If you're okay with it happening over there, then you better be okay with it here. That's not the way it works. You don't get to have the dual citizenship and shit on people in another country because of the pigment on their skin. Because when you break it down, it kind of all comes down to that. It's like, what is it really? It's like white supremacy, colonization, capitalism, and just look, it's gross.
Yeah, no, the whole thing when people say, "Oh, like Israel controls our government," it's like, no, bitch. That's just because they're doing the same. They're literally doing what we did to the people native to here on Turtle Island. They're literally doing our playbook. It's like, holy shit, this is nothing different. They just switched out Christianity for European Jews. Like very obvious rebrand, reskin to specifically destabilize the Middle East. And it's just like so fucking obvious when you look at it, like from just like, whoa.
It's so devastating because, there are good people everywhere and there are shitty people everywhere.
Exactly.
And, they're like, before this was all, this current part of what's going on, they're like, Netanyahu was going to be overthrown. They're about to impeach him. Like the Israelis were pissed. It's like, and there's people, it's just like saying in America, like if you're American, you support Trump. That's not true. There's like a whole spectrum of people that are vehemently against it or like completely 100% for it. And that's the same in every country. Like you can't just generalize a group of people, and of course it's like a white supremacy thing going on over there as well. But it's not everyone. Like my heart aches for like all the people being harmed. It's devastating. It's really devastating. But the people of Palestine have been brutalized for a very long time, and it needs to stop.
And remember, kids, to eat local, eat your local billionaire.
Yeah,
because they're the rich are the ones that would be the people with the money would be the ones that would be the most upset about the land restructuring or anything like that too. Like, they want to give up their giant house,
right? And it's always they're using other people to like, they use the plebeians, in order, like there's that hierarchy, the caste system, if you will. We're all a part of it. We have a caste system here too, whether people want to call it that or not. We really do. And it's just like, listen, it's like sitting at a table and like the richest person at the table has the biggest pile of food on their plate. And then all these other people have like, a pretty standard portion. And then there's another person there with an empty plate. But the rich person, the person with the biggest plate will tell the person with a smaller plate than them, that guy over there with nothing wants your plate. And it's this playbook that they have, and it's like, no, they just want to be a part of the table. Why doesn't the one person with the most food spare a little of what they have? You don't have to hoard everything, hoarding wealth, hoarding resources. Like it's horrible. Like we're all human beings. Everyone has, validity, but they want to keep you enslaved. So they don't want you to have reproductive access or reproductive rights. So they want you to be pregnant. So you are, they're in control of you. So it's just like, it's really fucked up. And that's one of the reasons why I never wanted to have children. It's like, you have to be so selfless to do that job. You know, it's like, it's very expensive, and kids, you know, if you want to have children, it should be it's a luxury, you know, and they don't choose to be here. So you should want to have children to have children. You shouldn't be forced into it, because it just breeds hostility in so many people. So it's like, it's that means of control over the population. It's like a really fucked up thing to do. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Same. I'm child free for basically the same reasons.
Yeah.
You mentioned the divide and conquer technique, and what if not, what is a nuclear family concept? Everybody's divided. You don't have overlapping family, like, you know, clan, you know, where maybe in a different society, in a different organization, where in this system, yes, you have to be completely selfless to be a mom. And let's face it, mothers that do all.
Well, usually, let's not just like not always. It's not always mothers. You know what I mean?
I didn't realize how our upbringing, Morgan, was pretty fucked up, but it was, both of our parents were relatively present. It wasn't like mom did everything and dad did nothing. Like, both of our parents were involved. They just weren't really fit maybe in this society to be parents, you know, in a nuclear. But like in a different world.
They did the best. They did the best with what they had. They tried really hard.
That's what I always say about my parents. Like, you know, and then anyone's parents at the time, like Morgan's saying, like, it's so difficult to have kids, not to give your parents any, or anyone's parents who had a hard time, but like,
I can't imagine.
I can't imagine.
I don't know how they did it.
And as an aunt, I can only imagine just from that, like, closeness of that, and just being human, and just being a human. That
there's a lot going on, in the world.
Yeah, and the mistakes that you make when you're trying to like figure something out on the fly and all those things.
Yeah, it's hard.
So
you know,
it's really,
there's things that I look back on. I'm like, oh wow, I was tough. I was a tough kid, you know, but I was a kid.
We were kids.
And it's like, we were kids. And it's like, our parents clearly wanted children. They had 3 of us. So it's, you know, I mean, they, like I said, they did the best that they could with what they had. And I was definitely a curveball. So it was, you know.
Hey, you came out you came out great, Morgan. You're awesome.
I came out swinging. Like,
exactly.
I put them through it. But it's, you know, I feel like they are, you know, very lucky parents that we are all stable, you know, functioning members of society, whatever that means.
You can function this society. I think you're mentally ill. So
yeah, I'm like, I guess I'm alive. I'm like, you know, I'm like,
we're here. We're here.
I'm here. And like, I'm not locked up in a padded room right now. Not yet.
You're creating beautiful artwork. So
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's like a crazy time.
So since we talk so much about your art, it's hard to talk about it. I want people to see it.
Yeah, they need to see it.
Tell everybody where they can seek it out so they can see it
So right now, like if you want to see any of my work, it's all like archived on my website, which is www.themorganpeterson.com. And I have a show up at Nathy Katzoff Art in Beverly. It's West Hollywood, really close to Beverly Hills on 8900 Beverly Boulevard. And then I also have an upcoming show at Traver Gallery in Seattle, Washington, which will open on October 3rd. And it is a group show with 2 of my friends that were also contestants on the show, Blown Away Season 4, Karen Willenbrink Johnson and Gemma Hollister, who are fabulous artists as well. So we're all going to be in a group show together at Traver, which is right next door to the Seattle Art Museum, right down in downtown Seattle on First Avenue. And I also have my Instagram handle, which is at Zucchini Noodles and Beef. And I know we're doing a TikTok as well, but we haven't been working on that quite yet. But I want to say it's Morgan Peterson is the handle on that one. All nonsense. but it's a lot of my work is pop culture references and large scale pop culture references, a lot of engraving and political and conversations.
So yeah, I will make sure to link, Joanna or I, whoever gets to it, we'll make sure to link in the show notes and on the website, our website, www.theweedout.com, all the links that Morgan just referenced. So in case you don't know how to spell zucchini.
Even I don't know how.
I mean, I am here for it, but the branding, it's got to be consistent. But I also, the rebel inside of me says, nah, fuck that.
Well, zucchini, noodles, and beef is actually a pop culture reference and a true crime reference, so it's very on brand.
Oh,
nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
You're corrected. I'm sure people that would probably like your art would probably know the reference. What is the reference, I guess?
So actually, the gym I go to in Capitol Hill, there was this group of bears, like a group of there was a leader, the master bear, Dylan, and he had 5 pups. So like part of the gay community in Seattle. It used to be called Gold's Gym. Now it is Pacific Northwest Fitness. But basically, these guys all had this. They had like crazy body modification. It was saline injections into their scrotums, which made them the size of grapefruits. It's insane.
Wow.
So if you look it up, it's really
Whoa.
fucked up. But my best friend and I, Debbie, we were going to this gym and we would see them all the time. We're like, oh my God, I want to be best friends with them. Like, how do we become friends with these people? And the guy's name was Noodles and Beef. So we changed our names to Zucchini, Noodles and Beef, and Doodles and Beef to be like, look, we can be friends. But what ended up happening is Tank, one of the pups, died like tragically from the saline injection. Like something happened, and then they hid his death from his mother. It became international news. This happened at our gym. It was super fucked up. And it was like all over, like the last podcast on the left covered it. Like it's fucked up. But like it was very on brand for me. I was like, oh, this is weird, but that's what it is. So
I may have to look that up now. That's crazy.
Look it up.
That's crazy.
Dylan Heffertepen, and the guy that passed or died was. It's really, the story is very sad, and his poor mother is in Australia. It's devastating. Dylan has disappeared. No one has seen him. I see some of the other pups around Seattle here and there, like at different clubs and whatnot, but the whole situation is just like, the more I read about it, it was like, oh my God, like how I find this shit, I'm just like very attracted to it. But I figured I'd keep the handle because I was like, it's very on brand. It's very fitting for me.
So
I like the name.
Mm-hmm.
Noodles and Beef is her Instagram handle. That's where you're gonna find the most accessible. Like most people are sitting on Instagram probably right now, so go there. But I just want to point out where a lot of people say Morgan and I and Ashley, our other sibling, look alike, have similar mannerisms, and kind of have the same sick kind of twisted view of the world. I have stranger danger. I'm an open-minded person. I am very open-minded, but like there would have been some, and nothing to do with the kink community would have turned me off per se. But when he said his name, the name would have been the second red flag for me. I was like, you know what? I'm glad I met him, but I wouldn't want to continue to be their friends. That's where we're different. I just want to make sure.
I was just so intrigued. It's like, what is going on over here? Like,
it is interesting.
I'm open. I would be curious, but that's 2 red flags, and I'm out.
For you, that's a no. You're a no dog on this one. You're like, for me, that's a no.
I'm a conservative. I'm conservative, I guess.
I'm like, who doesn't love a bad idea? I'm like, I'm fully in. I'm like, what's going on? I want to know.
This is why communism doesn't work. Sorry, it's a Simpsons reference. Anyways, so find all these links at www.theweedout.com. And I just want to remind everybody it's time for Ghoulery and Tomfoolery. We're going to do lightning round. Morgan, if you're not familiar with the segment, I pull up a ridiculous article. We try to make it local, and we give our hot take. So I'll just read through it. Since you're the guest, you can give your hot take second. I'll go first just to set the tone. Then Joanna will go third, and then we'll close out the show. So I'm going to pull this up for everybody on the screen. So, reported by the Boston Globe,
Christ.
turns to former prison as migrant shelter.
Oh, yeah, this is absurd. Sorry.
So it's just a prison? Okay.
Decommissioned Bay State Correctional Center to house up to 140 families. The headline says it all, but I'm just going to read the first paragraph because it's only going to get worse after that. But as the state struggles to find enough space and money to house thousands of newly arrived migrants, with a link to another article, Governor Maura Healey is turning to a former prison in Norfolk to a temporary emergency shelter, her administration said this weekend. Why are they just decommissioned? Why, when a prison is no longer safe to use? What the fuck? I'm gonna go real hot and short on this. Like, this pisses me off because I'm like, this makes no fucking sense. Like, why does that building still exist? And also, Maura Healey's a fucking ghoul. I'm so sick of this fucking governor. She's the worst. Stop electing cops. She's a former AG of the state. Stop electing cops. Eric Adams in New York and fucking cops everywhere. Kamala, vice president, cop. Stop electing cops. So, Morgan.
Oh my God.
You need more. Do you need more context? Do you need more? Should I read more?
Her face is so slappable. I just would want to backhand her. And what are you just like, oh, here, get used to it, bitch. So 140 families. So how many cells are there too? So what are there 70 cells, 2 families per cell? Because they're just so kind. I don't know. It just sounds horrendous. Like, if it's decommissioned, why is it decommissioned? Like, what's wrong? Like, was it a public, was it a federal prison, or was it what was this place?
It's a minimum security facility, so it's probably not it could be because in Massachusetts, thankfully, with the weed laws not being how they were back in the day when we were kids, they honestly can't fill certain jails, so they're gonna actually close a maximum security prison in Concord soon for a similar reason. They don't have as many convicts.
Well, that's
anymore.
Great news.
So it is fantastic news. Yeah. So that may be why, but I'm not positive on this one. But that's just that's me hypothesizing.
Wow. I mean,
I would just like to add a little. It says the administration has identified a state-owned building in Norfolk to use as a temporary safety net site for families experiencing homelessness. So this is where they shove homeless people into this building that's been decommissioned. So likely, do you think all the plumbing works in there?
It even says razor wire on the fence surrounding will be removed. It's like, oh, good.
Cool.
Oh, thanks.
Because they're gonna jump a fence. No, the buildings are set up to keep you trapped. Prisons are built very specifically. It's not a fucking
oh my God. That's I understand. I want their intention to be in the right place, but is this just preparing? Are they migrants? Are they making their way through the to become citizens system? Are they coming in as refugees? Are they going, there's so many questions that I have, what's going on? And is this just a way to shuttle them back to where they originally came from? It sounds like the detention holding center that we had, the INS building in Seattle, which was basically, it was a prison. I had friends that it was turned into an artist space after that. And so we had friends that had their studios in jail cells, and it was it was the Inscape building. So, and that was where all of the migrants would come in, and the refugees, and they were detained there. So I'm in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. And that woman, she looks terrifying. So,
well, she's a cop, so
yeah.
that's all she's done. Is she's only been a prosecutor. It's so
Are
disgusting.
they going to be helping people to like get apartments? Are they helping them set them up into the system? Like if they had like social programs to help assimilate people, because we are all at some point immigrants, our families came over here unless you are indigenous to the land. So it's like, are they going to have like a way that people, language lessons or how to get an apartment, things of that nature, getting children into the educational system? Like, I mean, I have so many questions.
Some of it's answered in here, but it's like the same ghoulish shit you would expect. Basically, they're up to 9 months, but that's not even guaranteed.
Oh my God. Yikes.
A National Guard armory, which seems a little more reasonable. At least that's to house, your side.
Right.
But yeah, so the other kind of gross thing, and I can see how this is going to get weaponized by the right wing, is Norfolk is a small community and they were not notified and they're pissed.
Oh,
and
yeah.
these are all ex-COs that probably live there and they're probably fucking terrified. And the Boston Herald is probably going to be like, libs trying to destabilize a nice quiet town that has a bunch of ex-COs in it. But
Oh my God.
or they're still looking for work from getting fired from the fucking prison.
well,
They'll
Oh
be
my
like they'll
God.
be trying to get on the COs there. That's all I can think,
I haven't fully verified this, but people are postulating that the cop cities that are being built up, what big, small, or in between, they're all
Oh yeah.
they're all relatively close or in a sanctuary city.
And all being trained by the IDF. So fun.
It's kind of gross.
Mm-hmm.
So, Joanna, can we please get your ghoulery and tomfoolery? I'm going full ghoulery personally. It's not.
Yes.
Like same ghoulery full cycle. Like honestly, I agree with Morgan. Like the face, I wanted to do this immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So
Please
thank you for saying that out
audio.
loud.
What do you want to do to her face?
Oh, slap the face.
Slap it.
I'm just like, why? Why are you? Why? So many whys.
Yeah.
And then other
Why?
questions. And then with this, it's the same for me. It's a big why. It's like, first of all, why do we have a fucking like decommissioned building still sitting if we have a surplus of like hundreds of millions of dollars and we need housing for people anyway? Like, why hasn't it been renovated into something other than a prison already? Like Morgan said, the amount of questions that I have would upset them. And like you said, Spencer, the answers will be full of nonsense because that's how it ends up being. And like I will personally I will always have a thorn in my side for Maura Healey because she did give herself a 20% raise when she came into office.
Excuse me?
Yes, everyone like in her administration. And then all the teachers unions had to wait like a super long time just to get 4%.
That's repulsive. Not even the cost of the cost of living raise.
One of her first acts as governor.
That was her like her first the
like,
only guy that turned
days.
it down. Didn't some one person turn it down? Isn't
here's the big you. So all these relatively newer people to high executive positions. So I think it was AG, governor, and lieutenant governor, whatever the fuck they call that made up position. They all had the opportunity to turn it down. Like you could be like, nah, it's good. I'll keep it where it is. I'll defer it till the next term, and whoever's in the seat can decide. Why that one person gets to make a decision on their own fucking raise beyond
and that much. It's like, oh my god, no one gets the raise that much usually. That's a craziness.
Here's the gross thing. I think part of it is because there's like poison pills in government. So like some Republican or neoliberal was like, oh, I don't need the salary, I'll defer it. So all these set raises that were probably supposed to happen just kept getting deferred. I don't know this for sure.
I don't know. I think they're greedy assholes. Sorry.
So everybody, it doesn't matter. The point is, she took the 20%. She could have. There was an option.
Yeah, like fuck that. And the teachers weren't getting paid.
We know there's an option not to because Bill Galvin, gangster Massachusetts blue dog Democrat,
which I don't really like him, but thank you for this.
I hate that man, but it's such a genius political move. This is why the man's still in the game. He saw the fucking people were struggling. People are going to be pissed if they see your fucking governor and
well, and he makes a lot of money. He's been there years. Look up his salary. Like what he knows it looks ridiculous.
200,000 as like a government employee, but regardless, he's got his fingers in other pots, allegedly.
Yeah, he's fine.
But
like he doesn't need it.
Remember Bill Galvin? Like he's been secretary of the Commonwealth or whatever the fuck they call it. The guy who does all the voter ballots and public records stuff. Anyways, so yeah, he's been in government that specific role since what 1990 probably.
Like a really long time.
Anyways, so yeah, we know you didn't have to take the raise, Maura. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so he blew her spot because he was like, I don't want it. So then I was angry. I was like, oh my God, she just made this up for them and they just took this. And I feel like in Massachusetts, it's an issue that we allow them to give themselves raises too.
That's insane.
That's gross. That
should be a referendum, if anything, like every 10 years when you rate cost of living, whatever. I don't know. I don't really care.
Well, and I only say this because of how workers are treated in their jobs and like the raises that we're all given or not given. It's ridiculous.
And those are the people that really need them, but it's like innately that woman sounds like a greedy twat. And she just, I don't really see the difference between her and a heroin addict. Like I've never heard a heroin addict or someone greedy like that say, oh, I've had enough. Like I'm done. I don't need any more. Of course she took it if she was in the position of power to do that. Like it's gross. Like, but those are the people that should not be in those positions. Like you're supposed to be a civil servant and like you're only serving yourself and and the people that put you in those positions of power. So what fucking bullshit tomfoolery are you up to? Well, who do you owe what to? And like, I'm like,
exactly.
It's like no one gets to those positions of power without doing something fucked up. So that woman is like evil bitch.
Yeah.
Like
she's put a lot of
evil bitch.
She's put a lot of people in jail.
Oh, yeah. She's trash. Oh, so like forced slavery? Cool.
Yeah.
Like modern day slavery? She sounds great.
Yeah, she's great. She's my number. I'm her number one fan.
She sounds like someone I would really dislike.
Yeah, she's not someone I like. Mm-mm.
Yeah, she also. I mean, we should probably wrap up, but I do want to add while we're on the Maura Healey hate train, she saw nothing wrong with what the Boston police did to the Emerson College kids. She saw nothing.
What?
She said that was an appropriate response.
Well, so did the mayor.
Does she have children?
I think I actually don't know.
Oh, here's another juicy tidbit. So her ex-wife or longtime girlfriend, longtime partner, whatever you want to call it, she is on the Supreme Court of Massachusetts.
Oh, good Lord.
She's getting nominated. She's getting nominated or something. Point is, it's messy as fuck. Everything is so messy and gross.
Oh my God. It's so like people never grow up out of high school. They still act the same way, but have this like they think they have the moral high ground because they make more money, but really they're just the same asshole they always were.
Yeah, happy money. So I just want to thank everybody for listening to our conversation. Morgan, thank you so much for giving us your time.
Yeah, of course.
And congratulations once again on winning season 4 of Blown Away.
Thank you.
Anybody has access to Netflix, you can find it there. Just type in Blown Away and or check Morgan's art out. And I'm just really grateful to have my sister on to talk shop and talk politics and share her experience as a working class artist. So I don't have much more to say. I just want to say thank you, Morgan, and I love you. And
I love you too.
Joanna, do you have anything you would like to add?
Well, I already said it, but thank you, Morgan, for just coming on and giving us your time. And I'm so excited to get to meet you. So hopefully I get to meet you in person someday.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will be. I have to come out there, I think, this summer. It's only for a weekend, but it's like for the ADA. I didn't think I told you this, Spencer, but we're both diabetic. So I'm doing a fundraiser for the American Diabetes Association. So, but I'll be in like Sandwich, Massachusetts.
Cool.
So hopefully I'll stop by and see you guys.
Well, we really appreciate your time, and like good luck with all of the artwork you're going to be working on. I cannot
Thank
wait
you.
to see. I cannot wait to see.
I can't wait to see you there. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
All right.
I believe it.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, you can find everything at www.theweedout.com or find us on social media. As always, keep weeding out the bullshit.